Reporting for the Intermountain Christian News and the Christian Newspaper Association, I'm Dr. Anthony Harper at the White House. Very troubling issues for me to deal with today regarding Israel, and I was attending the press conference here at the White House with Press Secretary Jennifer Psaki, and she made it clear on several occasions in this press meeting that President Biden is committed to the dedication of a Palestinian state, establishing that. It's important to think about the peace plan map that was drawn up previously by Jared Kushner, President Trump, and the input of others, including Saudi Arabia, that shows a Palestinian state in the heartland of Israel. And a big question also is the withdrawing from land on the part of Israel. Has that brought more peace? And it hasn't with regard to the issue in Gaza. They withdrew from that land, their land, and they had a lot more violence. So important to think about that. Also in light of the important scripture that's referenced in the prophet Joel chapter 3 verse 2. In the Holy Bible it states, God enters into judgment in the valley of Jehoshaphat, the nations that divide up his land. There are other concerns that our Jewish and Christian audience have regarding anti-Semitism. That would be the Jewish cemetery desecration in Vilnius, Lithuania, but other Jewish cemetery desecrations around the world. The one in Vilnius that is happening in a very historic place, check out the website savevilna.org. We have other forms of anti-Semitism, the BDS. A big question I've asked here and haven't got an adequate response for is President Biden going to defund? Is he going to halt aid, whether it's humanitarian aid given to Iran, to the Palestinian Authority, and UNRWA? If evidence is presented that this humanitarian aid is redirected towards terrorist activities, and I have a clear news source, and there are many news sources that would verify that money that was given for humanitarian aid is redirected towards terrorist activities. A key reporter for me in Israel is David Bedin. You can look for more information about this issue online. After the press meeting today here at the White House with Press Secretary Jennifer Psaki, I had two encounters with her. The first resulted in a no response. She had no comment to make about my previously submitted questions here regarding anti-Semitism. But the second encounter was a miraculous encounter to thank God for. Caught her at the end of the day here between meetings and made her aware about the evidence that I have through my reporter David Bedin in Israel, that the humanitarian aid that President Biden is giving Iran, the Palestinian Authority, as well as the UN agency UNRWA, is being diverted into terrorist activities. For more information about this issue of UNRWA, UNRWA, check out online, Google search for David Bedin and UNRWA. And then I also made her aware about the Vilnius, Lithuania Jewish cemetery desecration and how the Vilnius officials are still planning to desecrate that Jewish cemetery. Please check out the website for more information about the cemetery, savevilna.org. Press Secretary Jennifer Psaki said that the State Department was looking into these issues, and hopefully we will get a good response here very soon. Another disturbing statement to report about today was about President Biden referring to those that participate in getting the COVID-19 vaccine as patriotic, implying that those that do not take the COVID-19 vaccine are unpatriotic.
As it relates to a two-state solution, you've been through many of these, as have I, and it is clear that it will require both parties to be committed themselves. The United States cannot manufacture on our own a two-state solution. It would require both parties having that desire to move forward.
So it sounds like what you want the American people to understand is that although you are trying your hardest and doing everything you can with all your relationships behind the scenes, the U.S. does not have the power to solve this problem, or it doesn't have the leverage to solve this problem.
We read news every day, news that's informative but rarely encouraging. The Intermountain Christian newspaper aims to change that. They present the news you need to know, from what's going on in your community to your world, with encouraging words, motivation, and the resources you need to make positive changes in your life. What is your local government doing that you need to know about? What's happening in your community you need to be a part of? Whether it's a story from your neighborhood, a national story, or an encouraging word, you'll find biblical issues of everyday life in the Intermountain Christian newspaper. Intermountain Christian News is produced and supported by the work and donations of individuals and churches. You'll find it at churches, Christian bookstores, by subscription, and online at imcnews.org. To find out more about supporting this local resource, go online at imcnews.org or call Intermountain Christian News in Boise, Idaho at 208-703-8688. The Intermountain Christian News, a voice sharing the truth on matters dear to people's hearts.